Welcome back everyone, once again, to my channel, Kytto Recaps. And guys, I want to let you all know that this series is trending incredibly well and all of you are giving it full support. But I want you to share my latest videos with your friends and on other channels to make this series even bigger, because as you know, my channel's reach has dropped quite a bit. So please give this channel the support it deserves by dropping lots of likes and comments on these videos. And yes, there's a surprise waiting for you today, so make sure you stay all the way to the end. And today, in this video, you're going to see the storm of Tang Wutong's jealousy, which makes even Tian look like nothing. And along with that, a mastermind plan from Guji will surface that will make Yuhao himself hold his head in disbelief. But before we move forward, let's do a quick recap of what happened in the last part. In the last part, after Yuhao's fight with Tian, and after fully recovering, he went to Guji's camp to meet her. And after that, he even showed her his demi-plane, which is his biggest secret. And we also got to see a romantic moment between the two of them, which if you haven't seen yet, the link will be visible popping up above for you. Please click on it and go watch it at least once. And now moving forward at the start of this episode, Yuhao brings Guji back to her tent. And when Guji turns around and looks toward that black door, she tells Yuhao that, so this is your biggest secret that you've been hiding from everyone. And hearing this, Yuhao gives no answer and just quietly keeps looking at her. After which, just as Yuhao was about to fly up and leave, Guji calls out to him from behind to stop, and then she tells Yuhao that her real target is who, and the moment he hears this, Yuhao reappears beside her and starts looking at her in surprise. After which, Guji gets up and comes toward him and says, Yuhao, honestly speaking, the reason I had promised to tell you this secret was because I just wanted to meet you one last time before you left. And hearing this, an emotional storm rises inside Yuhao that he can't contain. After which, Guji in a completely composed voice says, my target is the dueling empire, and you probably guessed this yourself, you just didn't have confirmation. And hearing this from Guji, Yuhao agrees and then leaves from there, after which Guji stays standing right where she is, and a faint smile appears on her face as if Yuhao is still present there, and after quite a long while, when that smile fades, she goes back to sitting in the commander's seat and dives back into planning ahead. And here's the thing, she was fully convinced that no matter what Yuhao did, stopping her plan was now nearly impossible. After which Yuhao stops at 5,000 meters altitude and looks down at that massive camp, and thinks to himself that Guji is far more scary than she appears gentle in front of him. And throughout the entire conversation, not even for a single moment did the initiative come into his hands. And even when he went to take her captive, it ended up being Guji who convinced him instead. And the title of War God Empress wasn't given to her for nothing. After which he quickly heads out toward Shrek City, and upon returning he first comes to the military drill ground. And using the spectral gate, he brings all 3 Soul Engineer legions out, along with a huge amount of resources, which makes Shrek City's defense even stronger. After which Yuhao heads toward the Tang sect because he learns that both Beibei and Tang Wutong have returned. And then he quickly reaches Tang Wutong's room and, waking her up, starts asking what happened with the dueling empire. And here, first, the most hilarious thing happens. Tang Wutong, who is a title douluo, wakes up the moment Yuhao shakes her and wraps her arms around him. But right then, the seal her father had placed activates and throws Yuhao so hard into the wall that he slams straight into it and slides down to the floor. And worth knowing here is that this seal automatically adjusts according to Yuhao's current strength, meaning the stronger he gets, the harder the seal will throw him. And as Yuhao slid down the wall, he thought to himself, man, future father-in-law, how long are you going to keep this seal? After which Tang Wutong says in a cold voice that I hugged you because I was really worried about you, but the seal you absolutely deserve. And when I wasn't here, you went and did that yin-yang compliment breakthrough. And did you ever think about how I would have felt? And what would I have done if you had failed? Saying all this, her eyes start turning red, and then she steps forward and, pulling Yuhao up, starts sniffing his body, seeing which Yuhao gets genuinely nervous. After which Tang Wutong crosses her arms and looks at Yuhao with completely cold eyes and says just one line that, all right, now explain everything to me properly. And then Yuhao immediately tries to change the topic and says, hey, we were discussing serious matters, weren't we? So what happened with the dueling empire, and did you meet Heavenly Sun? After which Tang Wutong makes a face and says, yes, I met him and gave him the message, but he simply wouldn't listen. And the dueling empire's elite troops have already left for Shrek City. And along with that, 4 Soul Master legions and 200 troops have also set out. The moment he hears this, Yuhao grabs his forehead and says, damn it, Guji is about to attack the dueling empire. After which Tang Wutong immediately puts on a serious expression and in that same cold voice asks, all right, but first, tell me, why does your body smell like perfume? After which Yuhao thinks to himself that even Tian is nothing compared to the jealousy of a titled douluo. And bowing his head, he tells her everything that he had tried to take Guji captive. But after hearing her arguments, he had convinced himself. and he doesn't hide a single thing because Tang Wutong's eyes are so expert at catching lies that lying and inviting trouble are one and the same. After which Tang Wutong asks, even more annoyed that you hugged her just because she asked, to which Yuhao defends himself saying it was just a light shoulder hug, to which Tang Wutong clearly says even then that was wrong. So Yuhao thinks to himself that women become so unreasonable when they're jealous, but this he doesn't bring to his lips, because he knows if he says, the wall will be waiting. After which Tang Wutong sarcastically says, go to her then, and who knows, maybe she'll call back her army, and if you promise her marriage, she might even overthrow Zhu Tianren, and you can save everyone all at once, to which Yuhao helplessly says, all right, I was wrong, and next time I go to meet her. So Tang Wutong says a punishment is still coming, to which Yuhao asks with innocent eyes, what punishment? I've already apologized. After which, Tang Wutong suddenly steps forward and gives Yuhao a deep and intense kiss. And Yuhao's eyes go wide, and a warm and beautiful sensation spreads through his entire mind, and even his yin-yang complement soul cores become powerless for that moment. And then the very next second, he goes flying straight into the wall. After which Yuhao slides down the wall, thinking to himself that, man, no matter how powerful future father-in-law's seal is, this punishment should honestly come every single day. And because of the dragon pill's energy, his body has become so tough that the pain feels much less than before. And then getting up with a crooked grin, he walks toward Tang Wutong and says, I want more punishment. Seeing this, Tang Wutong doesn't take long to understand what he's about to do, and she runs away. But Yuhao uses spiritual detection to guess her direction in advance and catches her and kisses her, in response to which the seal immediately throws him into the wall again. But this time, Yuhao rises before even hitting the ground and says one more punishment. After which, Tang Wutong tries to use instant teleportation and appear in the other corner of the room. But the moment she appears, Yuhao's mischievous smile is right there in front of her. Because both of them have the same soul skill, and Yuhao's spatial understanding has now become so deep that he had already calculated her exact location. After which, when Tang Wutong feels like escape is getting difficult, Yuhao suddenly stops, and grabbing her shoulder, he turns serious and says, Wutong, stop, and then says, I have information about the Duling Empire that Guji is going to attack there, and we need to move right. After which, Tang Wutong tells him that Beibei has returned from the Douluo Empire, and the White Tiger Duke has sent some elite troops to Shrek City, but has also kept some troops on his own border. After which, Yuhao tells Tang Wutong that after meeting senior brother Beibei, they'll get the team ready. So Tang Wutong asks, aren't you tired at all? To which Yuhao, running his hand through her hair, says, when you're by my side, tiredness doesn't matter, and just make me one promise that when I'm not with you, don't put yourself in danger. So Tang Wutong also says, then you also promise that without me, you won't do such dangerous cultivation again. And this time, even Ditian came out. After which Yuhao makes the promise and also shares that there's good news too, that Ditian's reverse scale that he had placed on him got removed during the breakthrough, meaning Ditian can no longer track him. After which they both head to Beibei's room to get an update, so Beibei tells them that White Tiger Duke listened to Yuhao's analysis and agreed. And the Douluo Empire's defense is still strong, after which Yuhao tells Beibei that the Sun Moon Empire is about to attack the Duling Empire, so he's going there with Tang Wutong and leaving all three legions behind in Shrek City. And then he requests Beibei that he wants to take Shu Sanshi, Jiang Nanan, Juichen, Ye Guyi, and Nan Chuchu. After which Beibei asks whether Yuhao has truly become a titled douluo, to which Yuhao says yes, so Beibei says, alright, go, I'll handle everything here. After which, within 15 minutes, the entire team is ready, and Yuhao opens the spectral gate and puts everyone into the demoplane so they can rest there, and he can fly out alone at full speed. And saying goodbye to Beibei, he quickly flies off toward the Duling Empire. After which, as Yuhao flies, he keeps feeling the world around him through his spiritual power, and at the same time, starts analyzing Juji's strategy in his mind. And then he scans the entire north border of the Duling Empire. But nowhere does he find any Sun Moon Empire troops, and here a strange uneasiness comes over Yuhao, and he knows that this power of destiny feeling never. After which he lands on the ground and starts thinking with a clear head, and then says to himself that if Guji only has 2 soul engineer legions, what would she achieve by directly attacking the border? Because to occupy any city, you need troops, and she hadn't pulled troops from her main camp, meaning their plan is something else entirely. After which a thought hits Yuhao's mind, and it clicks for him, and he thinks to himself, wait, she's doing exactly what I did in the Sun Moon Empire, meaning sabotage. And then the next question comes to his mind, that if there are only 2 legions, and the goal is sabotage, then what would be the most deadly? After which, Yuhao slaps his own forehead, and immediately flies up into the sky, because the answer is right in front of him. The capital of the Duling Empire, meaning Duling City. And Juji's planning is so straightforward that Yuhao starts getting frustrated with himself for not thinking of it sooner. Because if the capital is destroyed and the royal family is finished, the entire dueling empire will fall into chaos. And the biggest thing is that the dueling empire had sent its elite troops to Shrek City, meaning the capital's defense was at its weakest at exactly this moment. After which Yuhao flies toward Dueling City at maximum speed, and he flies so fast that sonic booms are heard again and again, and something else becomes clear to him as well, that Guji's actual plan is even bigger. First, spread chaos in the dueling empire so their troops get called back from Shrek City, and when the Star Luo Empire's natural ally weakens, then attack the Star Luo Empire with full power, and once the Star Luo Empire falls, the dueling empire will surrender on its own. And thinking all this, Yuhao says to himself, "Guji, you are truly terrifying." After which, when Yuhao arrives near Dueling City, the sight below makes his heart sink because thick black smoke is rising from across the entire city. And this isn't just smoke from a few chimneys, but the entire city is on fire, and waves of soul power fluctuations are being felt from far away. And Yuhao closes his eyes with a pained expression and curses himself, saying, "I came here far too late." But when he opens his eyes, again, a sharp, murderous intent is burning inside. After which, Yuhao spreads spiritual detection across the entire city and finds a massive soul tool deployment area in a forest 15 kilometers from the city, which is 3 times larger than any average area. And the Sun Moon Empire's most advanced soul tools are deployed there, and he understands that the attack was launched from here, and this is also their escape route. After which, Yuhao opens the spectral gate and pulls out his team, and without explaining anything, he runs straight toward that soul tool deployment area. After which, the Icy War God's armor appears on Yuhao's body, and its deep blue glow fuses into him. And using his imitation skill, he becomes so invisible that surveillance soul tools can't detect him at all. And, like a thin streak of blue light, he slips in above that protective barrier, and the moment he enters, the alarm goes off, but sounding that alarm is useless. After which, Yuhao uses his ghost carving blade instead of the morning dew dagger because it can destroy any energy form most effectively, and he tears through that half-activated link defensive barrier with it, and the 50 soul engineers present there are completely shocked because they simply can't believe that even a transcendent douluo could break through this barrier so easily, after which they fire 10 soul light rays at Yuhao and simultaneously attack with penetrating rays and scorching rays as well, but Yuhao doesn't even dodge, and all those rays hit his Icy War God's armor, and the result is that nothing happens to him. After which, Yuhao raises his right hand and makes a pressing motion, and a golden light flashes in his eyes. And in a single spiritual blast, the heads of the 8 soul engineers standing closest to him explode all at once. And something worth knowing here is that Yuhao's spiritual power is now at the ultimate douluo level, which is why these soul engineers are like paper in front of him. After which, an intense chill spreads from his entire body and starts covering the whole area, and the weaker soul engineers freeze within seconds, while even the slightly stronger ones have their movement restricted. And Yuhao's team standing outside also steps inside and takes care of the rest. And with this, today's part ends right here without any spoilers. And if you get 100 likes within 1 hour on this video, I'll upload the next episode today itself. And until then, bye-bye, take care.